So a week ago, I uploaded a video onto my YouTube channel about Colleen Ballinger. Yes, Colleen Ballinger. This same individual here who, well, you know who she is. She's known for some of the worst things possible. I honestly, there's some descriptions I could give for this woman, but I will just say, obviously, Colleen Ballinger is a bad fella. And yeah, recently she's been responding to a plethora of things on her podcast that she runs with her sister, but mainly she's been responding to the treatment that she's received from the internet over the last few years, which is quite interesting to me given the things that Colleen Ballinger has been accused of over the last few years. I feel like she's actually doing quite well for herself. She's still on this platform. She's got a Patreon where people are paying a monthly subscription to. She's going on live shows. She's doing it all, despite everything. But yeah, in my video I addressed that and the fact that her sister basically agreed that yes, there has been a large amount of lies spread about Colleen Ballinger, despite they never really specify what the lies are, which is quite difficult, and this is why I was so confused in my video, because if there's lies, just tell us. Tell us what the lies are. I'd love to know. Please let us know. They still haven't let us know, and that's kind of what this video today is all about. But also another thing that she addressed was a supposed incident that took place at one of these live shows of where a supposed heckler turned up and shouted something at Colleen. Now, honestly, if I was going to go to a Colleen Ballinger live show, I wouldn't be shouting at Colleen. I would be shouting at the individuals in the crowd that have actually paid money to be there, because honestly, if you're giving money to Colleen Ballinger, I genuinely think you need to be put on some form of ward. But no, if you want to, you can buy tickets right now. If you live in Nashville, congratulations. You can buy these tickets. Please don't, but you can. God help all of the people that live in Nashville. Colleen Ballinger is coming to town. But you may be thinking, okay, well, why are we back here talking about Colleen? We went through all of that last week. You already know about all of this. Why are we here? Well, there've been a lot of updates. It's Colleen Ballinger, and there is something new every single week, in particular on this podcast, but also I received some, I guess, confidential information. Because you see, recently I received an email from somebody that saw my last video, and they told me that I actually directly reached out to some of the venues that have agreed to host Colleen Ballinger, and one of the venues actually responded to them and addressed some of the complaints that they had. And I'm not going to lie to you, the response, well, it's not good. It's not good at all, actually. It's probably worse than you can actually imagine, because there is such a little of anything said of worth. We'll get into it. But also in terms of the actual show, we've seen our first glimpse of it, and I can't lie, again, and I'm not just saying it to be a hater. Okay, maybe I am a little bit, but it doesn't look good. In fact, I'm more questioning the people that have once again paid the money that they have to see Colleen Ballinger perform this live. But I also want to go back and speak about the podcast that Colleen Ballinger has with her sister, because I've actually been told that there are more episodes out there where Colleen Ballinger addresses the hate on the internet. And yes, I have found some recent episodes where Colleen Ballinger is very mad at a lot of people, and she starts to put out a defense for people like Jojo Siwa. She starts to respond more to people that don't actually like her, and she borderline defends people like James Charles in certain charity situations. And just in general, yeah, there is a lot that we need to get through today. So yes, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. I would really appreciate it. But also, I need to announce, this isn't a new podcast. This is a podcast that I've actually been running for 7 years. We just went on a 6-year hiatus, but me and my friend Faf9, you may know of him, he makes video game related content. We've actually started a podcast with absolutely nothing to do with anything that I do on this channel. I know, great advertisement, but we're talking about video games, films, TV shows. If you want to come and take a look at some of that, we'll revive the show, please come over. It would mean a lot. I know it's a little bit different to what I do here, but the links are in the description if you're interested. If not, subscribe to this channel. There's plenty of content here. Thank you very much. But yes, somebody reached out to me whose name I will not say because I don't actually want them to get into trouble. But yeah, they had this to say. Greetings. In response to one of your videos, I reached out to one of the venues in my city. I've attached a photo of their response, and if you'd like, I'd be more than happy to forward the physical email as well. Cheers. Now, this email was sent to me by an American, and it immediately caught me off guard. Not because of anything they've just said, but the fact that an American said cheers. Now, I may be completely out of touch with my American compadres, but the idea of an American saying cheers is something quite beautiful to me personally. I feel like cheers is something only British people and Australians say, but again, maybe that's my ignorance as a British person, and we are very ignorant, but I was shocked. I was shocked to see that, and I was also kind of shocked to see, apparently the venue has also responded, but that's minimal news in comparison to the cheers. But yes, as you can see here, they submitted a request to the website that was supposedly hosting Colleen Ballinger, and their message read, "I'm wondering why this venue would host a woman who is knowingly engaging in a terrible activity with children." Straight to the point and absolutely right. As much as I'm laughing and joking here, it is quite interesting that, like we saw in my last episode, Colleen Ballinger very much likes to feel sorry for herself. She likes to act like she was cancelled by the entire internet. But she is still able to go to these big venues where a lot of big famous people have performed at and perform. She is allowed to do that despite doing what that message just described. I wouldn't necessarily say that she was cancelled. But yeah, they go on to say she has asked children what their favourite positions are, sent a child lingerie, and as well as other inappropriate behaviour, like asking a child to reach into her pants or having a child who was wearing a dress. Okay, we don't need to go into all of the detail that they just went in, but honestly, there was a part of me that kind of forgot a lot of these details. Obviously, the main ones I remember the basic specifics of Colleen Ballinger was very inappropriate with her young fans, but when you actually get into the details of what she did and what she was exposed for doing in 2023, it genuinely is absolutely disgusting to look back on. I've made like 6 or 7 hours of content about Colleen Ballinger in that specific time period, and even I had to kind of like wipe my mind with what took place completely and specifically in that era. But just looking back on it is genuinely utterly horrific, and I really don't actually understand how Colleen basically got away with this with 0 consequences. Like, there are a lot of influencers that have done a lot of bad things, arguably less than what Colleen has done, and have completely lost their careers. But Colleen Ballinger, she's absolutely fine, and that's kind of why I find it fascinating that she has this podcast that we're going to look at later, where she complains about the internet and the treatment that people receive, when this woman has actually received the best treatment possible, in my opinion. Because honestly, if anyone who wasn't famous did what she had done, there would be severe repercussions. But in this case, there's actually reward, because yeah, as you can see, she's performing in front of a live audience, and they say, does this venue condone people who engage in this activity? Does this venue approve of predatory behavior? And yeah, this is a completely fair question to ask. I feel like, honestly, it's kind of nice. Like, they could have gone into a lot more detail, maybe provided some screenshots, but obviously this person is employed, unlike myself. And yeah, either way, it's a very good question to ask. It's a very big thing that a lot of us have been wondering. A very big thing isn't a very good descriptive. I can't even speak English right now. I'm just going to give up what I'm saying and move on to the next part, to be honest with you. And that next part being City Winery, the host, responding to this person saying, "Hello, thank you so much for reaching out and bringing this issue to our attention. This definitely isn't a template that we're using to give a response to any form of criticism that we've ever received." That wasn't written down, that was just from my mind. But also, I am kind of confused. What issues are you talking about here? Do you mean Colleen Ballinger sending lingerie to underage fans? Do you mean Colleen Ballinger inappropriately interacting with underage fans in group chats? Do you mean the inappropriate actions that she had with young fans on stage? Which issue are we talking about here? Because I feel like you need to specify them rather than giving us a template. But don't worry, fellas, they go on to say, we take such concerns very, very seriously. Do you think they're going to seriously address any of the concerns put towards them in the original email? Or do you think they're just going to give the most generic response possible that, honestly, it could be argued some form of AI wrote this response? Because they go on to say, we take such concerns very seriously and want to assure you that the values of our venue do not align with any form of discrimination or harmful conduct. Now, yes, what Colleen did was definitely harmful conduct, but I don't think I actually saw any mention of discrimination in the original complaint. So from that alone, what I feel like I've got here is either an automatic response and they've been completely ignored, which is completely disgusting by the way, or either a template that's just been written out to give generic responses to fair criticism, or this has been AI and it's under a prompt designed to basically give the most vague response possible in order to get away with any form of PR disaster. Either way, each possible scenario is disgusting, and if this is scenario number 4 of where somebody has actually written this, a real human being, and they've put time and thought into this, well, that's the worst possible outcome, because a human being with an actual brain has seen the things that the person was complaining about, and they have still given the most vague and grim response possible. Because they're not really actually identifying any issue brought up to them, they're if anything just making up issues such as discrimination, when realistically, no issues of discrimination were brought up to them in the original email. And look, maybe the venue after this is going to put out another response being like, we didn't know about the content that Colleen Ballinger has been up to over the last few years, but that really can't be accepted either, given we've seen the email, but also there are headlines out there about what Colleen Ballinger did. This article right here about the entire situation only came out a few months ago. So I don't think being deliberately vague about this is really going to work, given the severity of the things that Colleen Ballinger was accused of doing. But don't worry, guys, they claim to be a stage for all voices. I mean, all voices is genuinely crazy. What does that even mean? Are you just going to start letting the worst criminals on planet Earth onto your stage because all voices are welcome? When you start to use the all voices are welcome argument, it does start to go into some pretty murky territories. Are we going to start getting the worst of the worst coming up on this stage? Is Onision going to perform? Is James Charles going to perform? Is big old Epstein, is he going to perform? Is he going to get on stage, fly over from his island? Is that going to happen? Because all voices are welcome, apparently, according to this company right here. And look, I'm not even necessarily saying this thing needs to be shut down, but what I am saying is this response is quite cowardly, in my opinion. Because if you're going to stand by this individual, at least actually have the balls to stand by them, rather than giving out this very generic response, which kind of spits in the face of not only the audience, but also Colleen Ballinger. I know it sounds a bit weird to say that, but if you're going to stand by them, you should at least have some form of defense or justification to why you're standing by them. But all they're really doing here is subtly and vaguely acknowledging something, some form of harmful conduct, but they still have Colleen on the roster. It's like, why not? Why not just defend them? Because honestly, there's a part of me that thinks, well, at least that would be a little bit more commendable than giving a vague, fence-sitting response. But yeah, they believe in a stage for all voices, and they state that they are currently reviewing the matter internally and will be addressing this as they seem fit. Now again, I don't understand this response. How much time needs to be taken into something like this? You either morally agree with what Colleen Ballinger did, or you morally disagree with what Colleen Ballinger did. There is really not much thinking that needs to happen here. Do you agree with her sending underwear to a 13-year-old Adam McIntyre? Do you agree with all of the things that she did on stage? Do you agree with her weird interactions with Jojo Siwa? Do you agree with her interactions with underage fans in group chats? Do you agree with any of that stuff? Just say if you do, rather than internally reviewing that. Because realistically, what is an internal review? Oh yeah, there are these headlines accusing her of a lot of serious things. Do we agree with them? Because it only takes about an hour to read into all of this. Well, maybe they agree with them, maybe they don't, but I actually think a vague response is arguably even worse, because it shows they're actually too cowardly and lazy to do any form of research into any of this. And the thing is since this person received the response, I don't believe there's been any updates since. There hasn't been any posts on their website, there hasn't been any direct addressing of the situation, and if anything, their website only just bigs up Colleen Ballinger, where it says in the description of the event, after a 3-year hiatus, the multiple hyphenate performer is back and ready to share it all. With more than 50 million followers and over 4 billion views on YouTube, Ballinger has built a global fan base through her unforgettable comedic character, Miranda Sings, and her wildly popular live tours. It's genuinely hilarious that at the first part of this paragraph, they address the fact that there has been a 3-year 3-year hiatus, and at the ending of the paragraph, they refer to Miranda Sings, who directly coincides with why there was a 3-year hiatus, and still they act like they really don't know what's been going on here in the response that they gave to the person that contacted me. Like, realistically, I don't think there's any need for me to pull up the old weird clips of Miranda Sings interacting with Jojo Siwa, because I feel like this company absolutely already know about it, and they're just being cowardly and still trying to take some form of middle ground whilst also propping up Colleen Ballinger. This video wasn't actually intended to be an attack on this company, but it's more just sickening to kind of read, given everything, and given the kind of re-dive into all of the things that Colleen Ballinger was exposed for doing. And again, it is hilarious to me that this event is 18 plus. I mean, yeah, I'm glad that Colleen Ballinger has finally discovered the idea of something being 18 plus. But if you thought the response was over there, no, it very much still has a little bit more to get into. Where they say their goal is to create an inclusive and welcoming environment for our guests. I really hate the word woke, but it is like they're wokely trying to play a middle ground on grooming allegations. Like, it feels like that. You can't, like, not have a stance whilst also claiming to be inclusive. It's like, what are we doing here, people? This is like the epitome of just corporate bullshit. It absolutely is a load of word vomit, and I mean, it's gonna work for them at the end of the day, but it is just hilarious to look at. What does that even mean? What do you mean by you're creating an inclusive environment by hosting Colleen Ballinger? I genuinely want to know. Like, if you can, email me. Let me know what you mean about establishing an inclusive environment here. I would love to know what this inclusivity entails when it comes to hosting Colleen Ballinger. Like, what are we doing here? But yes, it's a welcoming environment apparently, and they do regret, however, the distress that this may have caused. I mean, you could say that you regret it, but at the end of the day, I don't actually believe that you do regret it, considering that you are still hosting her, you are still bigging her up. And again, I'm not here to say, oh, you must cancel this event, but I'm here to say you're cowardly for playing a middle ground. If you're going to stand by her, go all out. Actually stand by her. If you're not going to, however, then actually take a stance. You can't tell me you regret these things, but also you're bigging her up and actually standing by it. These things directly contradict each other. It makes no sense. And he finished it off by saying, we appreciate your feedback and support of our venue. Should you have any concerns or questions, please do not hesitate to reach out. I mean, people were concerned. People did have questions, and you basically didn't answer any of them, and you just told us, oh yeah, guys, we're going to make this a really inclusive environment. And again, I don't actually know what that means. I don't know what the inclusivity is when it comes to hosting Colleen Ballinger, but sure, I guess. I mean, if you're in the interest of doing something this weekend, you and your friend could, if you really wanted to, go see Colleen Ballinger perform, and you could pay $246 in doing that, where you can meet Colleen Ballinger, which, by the way, is it. If you're paying $246 to meet Colleen Ballinger, you need to be sectioned. Like, I'm sorry, but you do. For an equivalence, I could fly right now from London to Milan and back to London. I could spend a whole day there, get a return flight, and it would cost me $39. And look, I get it. I'm in Europe. The flights are cheaper. I'm nearer to Italy than an American is. But what I'm saying here is there are better things to be doing with your money. If you have $246 laying around in this economy, please, for the love of God, spend it on something better. Spend it on me. Just give me the money and I will spend it on something better, and you and your mind can be happy knowing your money has gone to something far more productive than Colleen Ballinger's wallet. Because at the end of the day, Colleen Ballinger's wallet has gone into buying lingerie, which she is sent to. Sorry, we had to cut there. Unfortunately, we are building an inclusive environment over here on the inabber channel, and I just regret bringing this information up. And if you have any questions or are upset, please let us know in the comment section down below. Well, some of you may be wondering, well, what actually takes place at these shows? Well, as I mentioned earlier, there was a snippet that was released on Colleen Ballinger's Instagram story, and I'm not gonna lie, the $246 value is starting to look really worth it, guys.
Hey, baby. How's that vasectomy treating you? You're looking good in the glow of the Paw Patrol night light.
Just stop. just please. Are we still doing that? Like, we're going to continue. We're going to get through this together as a group. Like, I know I'm a hater. I have no shame in saying that. But when I see something like this, usually I can look past it like the venue did. But knowing this cost some people $246 to bring a friend, I'm concerned.
Rubber on the double. Slow dance with me to the sounds of B-L-I-P-P-I. Ooh.
I genuinely don't know what I just witnessed. I mean, this is something that people are paying to go to. This is something that people are doing on their weekends. And usually this is why I actually don't ask what people are doing on their weekends. Like, if somebody says to me, how was your weekend? I'd say, fine. Conversation, it's over. We'll move on. I don't need to know what you're up to on your weekend, because for all I know, some people out there could be going to this on their weekend. And I actually prefer to play ignorance, funnily enough, despite all my criticisms of the venue. I prefer to have the ignorance of not knowing, in fact, that there are people out there paying $246 to witness whatever this is. In fact, I don't even think it's worth being paid $246 to go to something like this. This is kind of like reminding me of those Russian sleeper, those theories of where it was like people were like put into experiments and they were like kept awake for like 70,000 hours or something like that. That's probably not as long as it actually was, but there's like those creepypastas about it. It kind of reminds me of that. It kind of does. But moving on.
Let's go get it on.
Yeah, if you want to go to this, it's in Nashville, Atlanta, Philly, Boston. Michaela Negara may go, for all we know. In fact, she actually does have a bit of a defense for Michaela in a certain situation that we're going to look into later. But, if you want to go to it, please don't. Just don't do it, please. And look, as I said earlier, I'm not usually one to judge. Absolute bullshit, by the way. I literally have a channel dedicated to it. Don't know why I said that. And I think I actually said that earlier. Sometimes I lie to myself. But, I'm not going to lie. This is not really good. I'm not trying to be mean. And I just don't get it. Maybe I am not the age demographic for this. Maybe it's something you need to be grown up with. I don't know. I mean, I don't think kids should watch this, but either way, I don't know who this is for. But actually, no, I do know who this is for, because when you go to the comment section on Colleen Ballinger's Instagram, there are a lot of people defending Colleen Ballinger. Cue that one guy's rant on YouTube about it. I mean, honestly, he's kind of clocked me. Like, I can't even lie. Fair enough, mate. Fair enough. You're bang on the money, aren't you? But there was somebody that was criticizing Colleen Ballinger where they said, oh, Jesus Christ. And then there was a fan replying to that, defending them, saying, what are you getting at? Colleen and I did nothing wrong. What? Yeah, I mean, the name does kind of hold up, to be honest with you. Now, this person cosplaying as one of the world's most famous predators was actually replying to quite a few comments, in particular, some comments that were unironically praising Colleen. For example, this one here where they say, yes, see you soon, baddie. They replied saying, you go, girl, Colleen and I did nothing wrong. Look, there does come points in life where you do have to start to question some of the things that you're doing, some of the positions you're taking, some of the things in particular that you're spending money on. And when you are spending $100 on something where it's gotten to the point of where there are fake accounts made of, famous predators defending that individual ironically, you kind of have to look at it and think, am I doing the right choices? Am I doing the things in life that my parents would be proud of? Because sometimes I think maybe, just maybe, your parents aren't proud of this. But it is clear that fans are apparently very happy that Colleen Ballinger has word for word picked up the ukulele again. And I think that's a crazy statement to make, considering the last time she was playing a ukulele on camera, it was her addressing the fact, borderline addressing the fact that she was exposed for inappropriately acting with minors. I think that is a kind of crazy response to make to that. I'm so proud of you for going back on tour with Miranda. They're the same person. They're the same human being. Can we not speak about it like they're two different entities, please? This isn't like a fucking Insidious. There isn't a demon stuck in her soul and Miranda Sings just comes out every now and again. It's not like that, all right? It's not like that. It's the same person. I love that you picked up the ukulele again. Everyone makes mistakes in life, but it is how you recover from them that matters. Mistakes in life are my dad racking up $70,000 in credit card debt in 2008 during the housing crisis. That's pretty specific, but that's a mistake, you know, and you learn from those things. You grow from those things. What's a mistake isn't sending underwear to Adam McIntyre when he was 13. That's not a mistake. That's an action that, in my humble opinion, should put you in a jail cell and probably make sure that you shouldn't have, live tours and stuff like that. But that's what a mistake isn't. There are two different things going on here. I think this year is going to be incredible for you. I will be watching and supporting. Well, you're a weirdo. You're a strange man. Why are you doing this? Am I mocking you? Am I belittling you? Kind of. But yeah, this event, it's still happening. It's still going down. And it's very clear that the venue do not care about what's happening here, even though the tickets haven't sold out. I feel that's kind of what makes this even funnier. They're taking this vague middle ground, but are basically supporting Colleen Ballinger. But the tickets haven't even sold out. It's not like this is like they're making them loads of money. When you can still buy tickets now. Like, they're still available as you watch this video. So I'm kind of confused to what's going on here, because is this even about money anymore? I don't know. But overall, I am just in general a little confused about all of that. And, maybe it will be a successful show. Maybe there is really an audience out there who love this stuff. Personally, it isn't for me, but talking about what isn't for me, it's again the Colleen Ballinger podcast. Because yes, as I mentioned, Colleen on her podcast loves to respond to things, and I think that mainly does come down to the fact that Colleen knows that this is a bit of a safe space for her, which, is fair enough. People outside of her audience, bar me, aren't really watching this, and that's why every now and again her or her sister will put in a little dig into the internet community. They will complain about how the internet responds to influencers. They will complain about hate and criticism, and they will just say whatever. And there are some gems here and there, because last week, as I said, I found Colleen responding to the criticism made of her, and now we're going to get into another podcast where she pretty much does the same thing, where she tells us she is not only tired of the hate, but also she launches a defense for people like Jojo Siwa.
One more thing, because I feel like that's me at the end of every episode. I'm like, wait, I have one more thing to say. I'm trying to get the out of here. But there is one more thing I want to say that I wrote down a lot, so we have a lot to talk about next week. But I am sick. I'm sick of the hate, guys. Actually, no, I'm not talking about myself. Like, well, yeah, I'm sick of that too. But I'm not talking about that.
I don't know if I'm being too woke here, but I do actually find it a little bit uncomfortable with how much Colleen Ballinger responds to hate and criticism on this podcast. Now, I'm not saying she can never really address the criticism or address the comments that she gets, but I'm saying that you should do it in a productive manner of where you actually go through why people are criticizing you. Because at the end of the day, I wouldn't necessarily say Colleen Ballinger, well, she obviously does receive hate, but I feel like dumbing it down just to hate is pretty, I'd say not fair and not genuine, personally. I feel like what actually has happened with Colleen Ballinger over the last few years is, yes, as I said, she gets hate, but that comes from the fact that she has done certain terrible things and was exposed for certain terrible things and has never actually put out a genuine, authentic response or apology to those things. We are yet to see any levels of accountability for those things, but we keep on getting on this podcast, in whether it's a jokey manner or a non-jokey manner, her basically trying to shut people down, saying that she's fed up with the hate, because there she kind of tries to play it off as a joke, but her sister jumps in being like, well, yeah, actually we are tired of the hate, and she ends it off by saying, yeah, we are tired of the hate. And it's like, if you're tired of these things, surely just put out an actual response to these things. But you can't, because that would mean actually having to take some levels of responsibility for your own actions. And yeah, it just kind of rubs me the wrong way here. And I know they are kind of laughing a little bit at the first part there, but I definitely do think that laughter is just to cover up the fact that that is actually how she feels. But I think what rubs me the wrong way is she starts to list other celebrities that have faced a large amount of criticism and a large amount of hate. For example, she mentions people like Britney Spears, and I actually find that quite disgusting that she starts this off by saying that, yeah, she's fed up with the hate, and then she gets into the hate that these people get. And it's like, I know she isn't directly saying that she's comparing them or putting them on a scale, but just even mentioning it in the same breath is genuinely quite grim to me, considering the fact that Britney Spears went through an actual hate campaign. The media campaign against Britney Spears was disgusting and there was no justification for it. But the campaign against Colleen Ballinger, I would say, is completely justified. The criticism against her is absolutely right. So to even mention yourself at the starting of this conversation is just grim.
I'm talking about just in general, like how social media just seems like a place where, I mean, this is no surprise. This is nothing new. It's always been very hateful.
I don't think it has. And again, I think the only reason you're saying this is because you are really annoyed at what happened to you on the internet. In fact, this whole rant that she's about to get into seems to me that it just comes from the fact that she is very resentful about what happened to her. And look, that's not exactly a shock, but I wouldn't actually say the internet is necessarily a hateful place. I see content creators and celebrities being celebrated more than I see them actually receive hate. When someone receives hate on the internet, some situations, sure, it's justified, but some cases, yes, it's absolutely not justified. But I wouldn't really paint the internet with a brush of, oh yeah, this entire place is hateful, and I think the only reason she's doing that is because she wants to convince her audience that that is actually what the internet is, as a way to kind of brush over all of the hate and criticism that she receives.
I went on a rant in my brain the other night, and I was like, I need to say this out loud, so I'm saying it here. I'm terrified a little bit because it's always scary to rant about anything on the internet. But I was seeing a lot of discourse about Addison Rae after some award show, Grammys perhaps.
They are all the award shows are the same to me.
Yeah. So people are like, people are being rude about Addison Rae.
Okay.
I like Addison Rae. I think that she's fun and new and different. And like, is she the best singer in the world? No. Did she ever come out and go like, I'm the best singer in the world? No. She's just like a little pop star cutie pants. But there's all these people online like talking about how they don't think she's good and that's not a good performance and blah, 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 blah. And I just had the thought of like,
you do it then.
Exactly where I'm going with this. I'll get there.
Thank you.
But in my thought, I remember thinking like, I remember being really young and people saying all this stuff about Britney Spears.
Oh my God, I love her.
I know.
She just got arrested for DUI.
People didn't always love her.
No.
And now they do. And
we did her dirty. We did her wrong.
Yes. And I'm like, oh, these people. And it was really bothering me that everyone was saying that. And then I just keep seeing negativity about anyone famous. Like people just have something really negative to say. And I saw someone talk about a book that they were coming out with or something, or they wrote a book or something. I don't know. And someone was talking about like, I don't like this book, or that's not going to be. And someone said something rude. And I was like, where's your book?
Yeah.
Where's your book?
You do it.
You don't like this person and you don't like their book? Don't read it.
No one's forcing you to read it.
That's okay.
You don't like the song? Turn it off.
You don't like this song? Yeah. You don't like her as a performer? Change it. Don't listen
Guess
to
what
it.
happens when someone I don't like pops up on my feed? Scroll past them.
I feel like this take is not only anti-intellectual, but I also feel like it is deliberate in a sense of they are only saying this because they want to discourage any form of criticism on the internet. And I actually think that is an absolutely ridiculous thing to do. I feel like criticism and positivity are two things that we both need on the internet. Having criticism is vital and having positivity is also vital. I don't think that you have no right to criticize a book, a movie, a TV show, a song if you have never made any of those forms of media. I feel like everybody in the world has the right to give their opinion on something, whether it's positive or negative. Now, you don't necessarily need to agree with someone's opinion, but just saying, oh, turn it off, move away from it, everyone just needs to be hateful about everything. I think just saying you don't like a song and why it's bad is absolutely fine, and condensing that down to hate is not only, as I said, anti-intellectual, but I also think they're only doing this because they are desperate to kind of remove any form of criticism from the internet. But again, as I said earlier, to even have the conversation of Britney Spears or even Addison Rae in comparison to what they spoke about at the beginning of Colleen being tired about the hate surrounding her, I think it's just disgusting. These people are not even relative to Colleen Ballinger whatsoever. The reason that Britney Spears got hate was disgusting and obviously was terrible. With Addison Rae, I don't really know too much about Addison Rae, to be honest with you, but as far as I can see, it again is nothing in comparison to Colleen Ballinger. These are three separate conversations, but I again think it is fine to criticize art. But this podcast just very much continues to push the idea that criticism is terrible and it's just hateful and negative comments just shouldn't exist. And this is something something that a lot of influencers who have been exposed a lot throughout their career love to do, where they are just like, oh, the internet is this terrible, hateful place, cancel culture and stuff like that. But it's like, actually, you are just very bitter and resentful because you have faced repercussions for your own actions.
I literally don't even think like, oh, I hate that person. I just bloop.
Because you're not a bored, pathetic, filled with hate human being.
As you just heard, Colleen's sister is very angry about the people that comment. You're a boring, resentful, hateful human. Like, it's very angry. And as I said, I think this is all about them being really pissed off at the internet for the treatment that Colleen Ballinger received. And again, if you're upset, if you're angry, give us a real response. Go through what you deem to be the truth. Expose what you think the truth is. You've had 3 or even 5 years to do that, and you still haven't. And instead, you're just whining and complaining on this podcast about the internet being a hateful place. But in terms of a content creator that I have regularly spoke about on this channel, they actually start to then get into the conversation surrounding Jojo Siwa. Now, Jojo Siwa, in my opinion, receives a lot of justified criticism. Sometimes I think the criticism is not directed in the right place. I think there are very terrible things that Jojo has done, and it is not spoken about enough, which we will get into. But again, Colleen and her sister seem to kind of just paint it out as just hate and outright nothing but negativity.
And I've seen, another thing was like Jojo hate. Jojo goes in spouts of like people despise her and then they like root for her and then they hate her and they root for her. And I'm just like, it's so boring. You're so boring doing this. Not her, not Jojo.
Jojo is anything but boring. I'll tell you that much.
Could not be more opposite than boring.
I think her music, it'll already launch.
She sent it to me.
She sent it to me too.
Shit. Okay.
It's cute. It's really cute.
We have to FaceTime her. Okay, we'll FaceTime her after this.
But it's already out by the time this is out. And it is literally talking about how...
Fuck, I can't believe I didn't watch it. She sent it this morning.
Yeah, she sent it to me and Abby this morning. And it's literally just like, she has another, I think it's a new song. And it's just like, bit of like, you guys just love to hate me. And I just keep doing things. Yeah. And I feed off of it. And it shows all her different versions of her. She's
genuinely so inspirational to me.
I fucking love her. But she shows every single version. And she makes fun of herself. That's the beauty of JoJo. Is she does things that we've all done. We just didn't have millions of dollars in the spotlight on us.
I actually don't feel like millions of dollars and being in the spotlight can necessarily be used as an excuse to excuse some of the things that Jojo Siwa has done, because there are a lot of famous people out there in the world that have not done this. This being horrifically mistreating children that worked on a set of a show that Jojo Siwa was the host of, to the point of where a 14-year-old girl, Leah Sanderson, was trained so hard that she bled through her belly button and was simply told to put a maxi pad on that wound. And there are plenty of other things that happened in that story that are outright disgusting, and I don't think it's spoken about enough, like I said earlier, but that is something that Jojo Siwa did. That is one of the main things that she has received criticism for over the last few years, and yet they're trying to kind of paint everything about Jojo as just, I guess, hate, as just negativity for the sense of just trying to be negative no matter what. But it's like, no, Jojo Siwa has, as an adult, received valid criticism. As a child, do I think what happened to Jojo Siwa was bad? Of course I do. I don't think that Jojo Siwa should have grown up in the environment that she did. I feel like she was outright bullied on the internet for a very long time, but as a grown adult, she has basically become the monster that was, I think mistreating Jojo as a child. But yeah, who is really surprised that Colleen Ballinger stands by someone who has supposedly mistreated minors? I mean, yeah, if anything, these two pretty much go hand in hand.
But she is being a very normal person for her age. Just,
I don't know about that.
I mean, even Colleen's like, well, I wouldn't say normal. And yeah, definitely a lot of the things that Jojo has done over the years is absolutely not normal. In particular, what took place on her show with Leah Sanderson.
Imagine being a teenager. She's not a teenager. She's 22 now. But like having all of the money and being in charge of basically yourself and just being like, oh, it'd be really cool if I had my face on my car. And you just could just do it.
Right.
She's not harming anybody.
Yeah.
She just did it.
Yeah.
Whoop de fucking do.
Right.
You would too. You would fucking too. I saw a guy post about Justin Bieber. He's like, everyone got mad at Justin Bieber for getting a monkey. Guess what? If I was 17 and I had $40 million, I would have bought a monkey too, because I was a fucking
and a tiger.
And he's I would have a fucking 17-year-old boy. I didn't know what was going on. He's like, I would have done it too.
Right.
Just because they're famous doesn't mean they've already matured and have the life experience the rest of us have.
Right.
Now, I feel like the criticism they're directing towards the people that have criticized Jojo Siwa and Justin Bieber here is genuinely quite dishonest, because whilst there are people out there that have needlessly hated people like Jojo Siwa and Justin Bieber for things that they did as a child, I feel like there is still valid criticism to be pushed, but not onto them as children, but onto the adults that were managing them at the time, onto the parents in these situations that allowed these kids to do what they were doing when they were children. I think it's absolutely fair to criticize the fact that Justin Bieber was allowed to buy a monkey. I think it's absolutely fair to criticize some of the things that Jojo Siwa has done over the years, and I think a big reason to why they're being dishonest with their, I guess, representation of the arguments pushed towards Jojo Siwa and Justin Bieber is the fact that they're trying to make all of the arguments seem like they come from illegitimate places, but actually there are very real, valid reasons to criticize Jojo Siwa. But these people on the internet that have faced criticism and consequences of their own actions over the years love to do this thing where they kind of bring out small reasons to why people received criticism in the past and used it to kind of paint over the actual reasons people don't like them. It's disingenuous and it's dishonest, but am I really shocked coming from Colleen Ballinger? No, absolutely not. But after this, Colleen starts to get into why she started to feel this way about the internet and why she feels that the internet is just this hateful place, and it is all to do with the fact that somebody she knows received criticism.
Because I saw someone talking about this person who I know, who like has a podcast or had a podcast. I don't know if they're still doing it. And they got really successful. Like it worked out really well for them. And and this person was like, here's the problem with this person. I'm like, first of all, you started off in the most annoying way.
Yeah.
You're gonna say the problem with someone you don't know. Okay, go for it, guy. And it was a guy. Anyway,
No.
and he said like, at first he said, and usually I just scroll these things, but he started off like, it seemed almost sincere. He's like, you know, you got like thrusted into this fame, and that's like traumatic. And in my head, I was like, that's true. And I feel like no one ever acknowledges that. People just go, oh, you're so lucky you got famous or you got rich or whatever. So like, you can't complain. And there's some truth to that. But there's also truth to like, in this industry, in social media specifically, where everyone's commenting on literally everything you do, and everything you do is wrong always. Like,
but that's not exactly true. I feel like not everybody out there is being like, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, and you did this wrong. The only reason people are doing that with Colleen Ballinger, and again, the only reason she's saying that is because she's trying to make social media feel like this unfair place, and the criticism that she gets and the constantly being told that she's wrong, it's like this unfair thing. But the reality is the reason people do that with Colleen is because she has done so much wrong. When you go to, you know, a regular famous person, like if you go to Zendaya's comment section, I know she's on a different stratosphere in terms of fame to Colleen Ballinger, but if you go to any famous person who is loved in the general zeitgeist of things, you're not going to see people saying, you did that, you did that, you did that. And sure, there may be small little niche audiences here and there that do that, but the overwhelming majority of people love these celebrities and, if not worship these celebrities. And the same can be said for some of your favorite influencers, you know? Like, yeah, there may be a little bit of criticism here and there, but Colleen, the reason you get so much criticism is because what you did is terrible, and it can't be compared to anything that you're talking about.
To be thrusted into that quickly, I do not envy, because for people always would ask me like, what's it like to like be an overnight sensation? I'm like, well, I wasn't, so I don't know.
You slowly
because
built.
like it really took, you know, it was years and years and years of growing with the internet as the internet came to be, and social media. I rose with social media, so like I grew with it. So
TikTok didn't exist. Instagram was just pictures. Twitter was like the hype. Like
there was like
it's very different.
So I grew with it. And now people, when they get famous, it is overnight, and that has to be traumatic. Like to go like that. It's
because
horrifying.
We learned slowly. Oh, make sure none of our profiles have our phone number, our address. Make sure things are privated. Like, we learned the do's and don'ts of what to post and what not to post, and like who to quote unquote promote. But you know, there's some friends that you put in front of the spotlight, and there's some friends you do. To not be prepared for that,
right?
And just have all of that out there.
Right. Well, that, and yes, 100%. I totally agree.
No, that's just like, I was just thinking the safety part of it.
Yeah, the safety part of it is crazy. And also the jarring, like to grow with an audience, like to have people, it's like, oh, I have a few people watching me and I have a few more people watching me. Okay, it's a couple hundred. Oh, no, it's a couple thousand. To grow with that, it makes the climb to fame, or whatever you want to call it, like less jarring.
Yeah.
Whereas if I went from like no one watching me to having millions and millions of people commenting and watching me, like,
and judging literally every single aspect of you.
like because I remember I would respond to every single fan letter I got.
I mean, yeah, we know that you did that, Colleen. You responded to every single fan message that you probably shouldn't have responded to. But in fairness, what they're speaking about here, at this point of the video, it's not exactly that bad. And I do agree with them to an extent. Like, I am also somebody that didn't necessarily just massively jump up into getting an audience. It was like a very steady build up. And I'm actually kind of grateful for that rather than just blowing up overnight. I feel like I've built a steady audience over the years. I don't think I'm the biggest influencer in the world. If anything, I'm nowhere near that. But I am grateful for having like a dedicated 100 to 200,000 people that turn up every single video. I'm very, very grateful, and I actually do understand what they're saying here. It's just a shame with what they get into, they kind of ruin it.
You know, this person said, like, that's really traumatic. And I was like, yeah, that is traumatic. So it captured me because I was like, oh, this person's actually being like sensitive to like what someone might go through. And then they went on to say like, well, but the real issue is like, your podcast was not good and you have no talent and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, are you serious? Like, this where's yours? Where's your podcast?
Wow.
I don't see you having a podcast that is insanely successful. I don't see you writing a book. I don't see you going on tour. I don't see you writing songs and albums. I don't see you performing at the Grammys. All these people saying all these things. Where are you? You're sitting in your bedroom or on the toilet making a TikTok talking about how someone else is talented. Where's yours? Let me see it.
And you know,
show it. What's your talent? What are you doing? Let me see.
Again, I feel like this is very disingenuous and anti-intellectual. The ability to criticize is absolutely the right of everybody, no matter if you do not sing, if you don't write books. I feel like everybody out there is in a position of where they should and must, if anything, criticize things. Criticism is an art in itself, and I think being a critic is very important. And look, you may not agree with somebody's criticism, saying, oh, I don't like this thing. I don't think this person's talented. It is brutal. It is mean, but I also think it is something that everybody should do. If you don't like something, say you don't like it. Engaging in conversation is absolutely vital. And if you don't like somebody's opinion, tell them that you don't like their opinion. Have a conversation with them. Have a debate with them. I think these are incredibly important things to do in this world. And I feel the only reason that Colleen Ballinger is saying stuff like this is, again, she's trying to paint criticism as just this outright hateful thing. But it's like, no, everybody has the right to say, hey, I don't think this is that good. Every now and again, I'll get people commenting on my video saying, hey, I don't think this was like the best take, or hey, I don't think this was like your best video, or hey, you've been slacking recently. And that's fine, man. I don't like those comments, but I accept them and I understand them, and I realize they're actually a net positive because it only pushes me to do better and take on the criticism on board, you know? And I feel like that is why criticism is so important, and misrepresenting it in the way that Colleen is obsessed with doing in this podcast is just kind of sad, to be honest with you. But again, it just comes down to the fact that, well, she really, really hates any form of criticism. But after this, Colleen really gets into the main reason why we're here. She starts to speak about people coming onto the internet and giving criticism, because she claims actually criticism is fine, but just don't post it online.
But I agree, and I just think, and by the way, when I say like, where's yours, where's your blah, 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 I'm not saying you have to have a podcast in order to criticize a podcast. You don't have to have a book in order to criticize someone with a book. No, of course, we all are going to judge and like or not like everything we see in this life.
Blast it online.
But to go online and be like mean and cruel about someone you don't know for no reason other than just because it's literally not to be helpful.
No.
You think she's gonna or he's gonna see this and go like, you're right. It's not helpful.
No,
it's not productive. It's just mean and selfish because you're doing it for attention. So you're saying this person's not talented, shouldn't be famous, yet you're using this person for views and money. Who's the one with the issue here? Like, and again, I'm not saying you can't have these opinions. Of course, I have lots of opinions.
All I am is an opinion
that are negative and positive, like we all do as human beings. And it's fine to express an opinion online. And I think that this person even could have done that, been like, you know what? I know a lot of people like this person. Like, I don't really get it. It's not my thing, but I think that this, and this, like to say, I think this, and this, or I feel this, and this, but not to be like, this person has no talent. This person is bad because
it's views. Like, everyone just does it to get views because being mean gets you views. It's just what it is. They just want views. That's all they give a fuck about.
Guys, I don't know. I just felt like I had this moment of like, instead of being like pissed, I was like, where's yours? You do it then.
You do it. If you know how to do it, you know what makes it, then you do it.
Go for it. No one's stopping you.
Go for it.
It feels like you might be a little jealous that you don't have the same life.
And you also don't have the grit, which is the other talent, and business savvy to do it then.
And you're not going to do it. So, like, keep talking about it from your bedroom, honey. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, it feels like these two are about to break down in tears and cry. The criticism of, you don't have this thing, you're not rich and famous like me, so you're just jealous, is so childish. I feel like I'm listening to two, like, schoolgirls on a playground just bickering with each other about the world being so mean and cruel to them. But it's like, no, you're chatting absolute nonsense. Just because somebody isn't wildly successful, it doesn't mean that they can't criticize somebody or say that they don't have much talent or say why they don't like something. You are absolutely entitled to get onto the internet to criticize things, and I encourage it. But the only reason they're saying this is because they are so devastated and upset and angry and resentful when it comes to the internet, because the internet has said, no, we don't really like you guys anymore because of what Colleen Ballinger has done. And look, if Colleen Ballinger didn't do the things that she's done, I'm sure people would still like her. I'm sure that she still would get a lot of love and attention. But the reality is she is just facing the consequences of her own actions. And it's very, very, very evident that she absolutely cannot take that. She absolutely refuses to take any responsibility. And it's so childish and pathetic with every single response Colleen gives out to the criticism on the internet, to in general hate on the internet. It just gets worse and worse every single time. And it's like she's exposing herself deliberately every single time. But the terrible podcasts don't end there, because there was also another podcast they uploaded where she once again responded to the criticism people have dished out on the internet. And in this clip, basically Colleen Ballinger speaks about influencers receiving criticism for using charity donations as a way to wash over the terrible things that they've done. And this is something a lot of people have spoken about. An influencer will get exposed for something, and they will mysteriously decide to be a charitable person where they will like to give a load of money to, homeless people, children, people in need, something like that. Mysteriously, after a history of no charity work, they will then delve into charity. And look, I think this is something that does deserve criticism. Am I glad that children, homeless people, people who need help and support are, getting support? Yes, I'm glad. But do I think that also means that we shouldn't criticize these influencers for what they're clearly doing? No, I feel like we should also still speak about that, because people, if they can, should give to charity without being prompted to by being exposed on the internet. But it's clear Colleen disagrees with that.
The angel tree trend is just, it shouldn't be, I mean, it's cool that it's a trend, but there's a lot of layers to this. So there's this thing at Walmart, which I'd never heard of before, called the angel tree, where kids who can't, like families that can't afford Christmas presents, kids will put their wish list on this tree, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And when you walk into Walmart, and I don't have a Walmart anywhere near me. Otherwise, this is something I would love to do, but I've never really lived near a Walmart to ever seen this before.
Yeah.
But then you go around Walmart or whatever, wherever. I guess you can bring stuff from other places, but Walmart's hoping you'll buy it all there, obviously.
Yeah.
And you buy them the stuff on their list so that they can get what they want for Christmas. And it's anonymous, obviously. So, it's just
a
magically
good deed. Yeah.
Santa Claus gets them what they want.
Sounds great.
So it's become a trend on TikTok for influencers. They go and they're like, I'm going to go do angel trees. And they go and they I saw James Charles do a couple, and I mean, they get spoiled rotten. There's a couple people who didn't do it well. Like they kind of skipped out on it a bit. And so then I think that's what inspired other people to be like, no, this is how you're supposed to do it. And then spoil the snot out of these kids, which is incredible.
Love that.
They get them everything on their list and then some.
Perfect.
It could have been James Charles. I don't remember who I was watching. I love watching them.
So yeah, what they're actually referring to here is, again, James Charles did this angel trees thing, but the main topic of conversation was Michaela Nogueira. She was receiving a lot of criticism because a lot of people were basically saying that she used angel trees as a way to get a bit of attention on TikTok, but actually didn't donate to them. And there was resolution in that situation. She did end up giving a lot of money to charity, but it was a big topic of conversation. A lot of people started to say, are angel trees, or is angel trees a thing that is only being used by influencers as a way to, you know, bolster their PR. Well, in my opinion, it absolutely is in a lot of cases. I feel like a lot of influencers that do contribute it definitely are doing it out of a place of just general good, but I definitely think people like James Charles love to use charity as a way to wash over all of the bad things that they've done.
Well, it's become a trend.
Okay.
And and here's how I feel about it is everyone doing it for the right reasons, or are they doing it to get views? Because they get views.
Doesn't matter.
I don't care.
The kids are getting it.
I do not care.
I don't give a flying fuck. As long as the kids are having a wonderful Christmas.
Who gives a flying shit if an influencer's like, this will get me views? As long as they're actually buying the gifts and giving them to these kids, why? So this, I'm sorry, I'm kind of going all around the point
I'm
and
following.
not getting to it. So it's become a trend. And what I'm seeing is just like every trend, anytime anything goes viral, not even viral, anytime anyone tries to do something good,
There's hate.
no good deed goes unpunished, as our good friend Elphaba would say. No good deed goes
Preach.
unpunished. And I know this from doing charity work.
Yes.
I probably, in my career, when I would do those charities, I got a lot of hate during that time.
Yes.
Of why wasn't I helping these people, or why did I help this charity, not this charity? Well, what, like
People thought you kept the money.
That's a whole other thing that I'm
Absolute bullshit.
I couldn't have given more money.
Yes.
If I'm sure I could have. I could sell my house and give that, but I just mean I've never kept a morsel of a cent.
You lost money doing those
every year happily, and it wasn't lost money.
It wasn't lost. I was going to say,
yeah,
you
because I would donate
gave
on top
more
of
than you
I would
made.
cover any costs.
Yes.
Of shipping of items, of labor, of anything, and then on top of that, would donate my own money to different organizations and privately. And so, yes, that was devastating when those rumors started floating about. Anyway,
Bullshit.
the point is that no good deed goes unpunished. And so these influencers are doing these angel trees. It did cross my mind that maybe some of them were doing it for the views. I don't care if they were or not, because people are doing things for the views every single day.
So yeah, Colleen Ballinger in the past was actually accused of stealing from charity. This was actually a big talking point that happened in 2023. But yeah, as you just heard, Colleen and her sister absolutely deny it. Which, I'm not going to talk about today. We could go into the specifics of that. There are plenty of videos out there, but I did just kind of want to highlight that it pretty much is a final denial that has been, a topical conversation for a long time that Colleen hasn't really addressed as far as I've seen. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to highlight on that for a second. But now let's get on to the main point here of, yes, again, is it a bad thing that influencers are giving things to people in need and using that as a way to bolster their PR? Well, I think it's a double-edged sword, and I feel like kind of trying to present it as not that is, again, very disingenuous, and I feel like the only reason Colleen is doing that is because once more she is trying to she's trying to basically paint over any form of criticism as just hatred, as just wrong and bad, and we should never talk about any form of, valid criticism. But actually, no, I think we should talk about celebrities, influencers, using charity as a way to get away with terrible things. Because some of the worst possible people, some of the worst celebrities are some of the biggest charity donors. And sure, I'm glad that some people are getting things. I'm glad that people in need are getting things. But also, I think we should talk about the fact that, yes, charity is weaponized by terrible people. And sure, you can just look at the positive side of that, but I don't think we should just focus on that. We should focus on both sides, and we should also focus on why do we have to rely on influencers to do this? Yes, I think everybody should contribute if they can, but I think it is sad that we've now got to the point of where we're like, well, even if they are terrible, the kids are getting something out of it. It's like, well, we need to still have a conversation about these terrible people using this as a way to bolster their PR, because there are people out there now that look at James and are like, oh, well, he gives money to kids and he gives money to people who are in need. And it's like, I can't even say great, because I know why he's doing it. So to sit there and act like, oh no, this is a stupid conversation, this is so dumb and just hateful for the sake of being hateful. It's like, no, you guys are being deliberately dishonest. And I think it comes down to the crux of the main point of the conversation that we've been having for the last hour. Colleen Ballinger is desperate to do anything she possibly can to wash down any form of criticism as just hate. And the only reason she does that is because over the last few years, she has shown she is just refusing in every single situation to take any forms of responsibility. And now she's gotten to the point of where she is outright basically saying any form of criticism in any situation is outright just hate. So to kind of wrap things up and conclude things today, I think this whole thing is just a load of nonsense. Colleen Ballinger once again has proved she hasn't not just changed or not learned from her actions. If anything, she's just gotten worse. On this podcast, as we've seen over the last 2 episodes, her sister will completely back her in every single situation, to the point of where they dub any form of criticism as just a load of lies and a load of bollocks. And it is just so unbelievably tiresome. But with that, I'm going to end the video there. Please let me know your thoughts down below. If you have any criticism, let me know and comment it down below, because criticism is a vital point of conversation and we should never, ever let go of that. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at inabber. Please subscribe to my podcast as well. It's all in the description down below. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.